T3, we're heading live to Oregon for opening night.
Record. Keely Hodgkinson, she can't believe it. Wow! What a talent, what a performance. It's a world record. Oh my goodness. She's done it again.
What a Diamond League season it has been. Good evening, I'm Sarah Mulcairns and I'm delighted to be joining you for the penultimate event of the year. Eugene in Oregon is playing host to a double header. We have got a packed programme for you tonight and another to come tomorrow as we crown our 2023 Diamond League champions. Tonight we'll see Matt Hudson-Smith go in the men's 400 metres. He pulled out of the Brussels meet last week, so is he fit? Could he cap off this year as the Diamond League champion? He's the most followed athlete on social media and fresh from winning the world title in Budapest, India's Neeraj Chopra goes in the men's javelin. Noel Oz has been persuaded to put his holidays on hold for now. He heads up the men's 100 metres field. Whilst fellow world champion Sha'Carri Richardson faces the 2020 Olympic gold medalist Elaine Thompson-Herah in the women's event. Dina Asher-Smith is also in that one. They shared the women's pole vault gold in Budapest, so we will see Nina Kennedy and Katie Moon again tonight. She's broken 3 world records this year. Faith Kipyegon is looking to add the Diamond League title as well. Laura Muir is in action in the women's 1500 metres as well, looking strong late on this season. And fresh from breaking the 2000 metre world record last week, Jakob Ingebrigtsen goes in our final event of the evening, the men's mile. Yes, your wonderful weekend of track and field starts here. It is midday in Eugene right now as we get started. A couple of other highlights as well to come. We have got Yulimar Rojas going in the women's triple jump, the world and Olympic champion, and also the women's shot put has the world champion Chase Ely on home soil. That is all to come, but as you can see there now, the athletes are making their way out onto the track for the first event, which will get us started. And all the attention is on that man there, Karsten Warholm, in the men's 400 metres hurdles. This one is a stacked field. It has Rai Benjamin and Alison Dos Santos there as well. So let's head out to Hayward Field and join your commentary team for the evening, Steve Cram and Tim Hutchings.
8th fastest man in history, McMaster. He's got a good lane draw in 6. So's this man, Rai Benjamin, the bronze medalist in Budapest, the silver medalist in Tokyo, behind Warholm's world record, remember, a couple of years back. 2nd fastest man in history is Rai Benjamin with that 46.17 from the Tokyo Olympic final. He goes in 5. In 4 is Alison Dos Santos. Slightly off his mark this year, finished 5th in Budapest, the world champion in this very arena last year, some 14 months or so ago. Great flat speed, 44.5 on the flat, the Brazilian. 23 years old, makes him the youngest man in the race. Wilfried Hapiot of France. Well, they got just the 1 medal at the World Championships. Hapiot was a semi-finalist there. He goes in 3. He was 4th in the World Championships last year. In lane 2, CJ Allen, the US Championship silver medalist in this arena a few months back. Very consistent, only once out of the top 3 in his 15 races at 400-meter hurdles this year, CJ Allen. But lane 2, maybe a tough draw, and pretty tough for this fella too. The Frenchman, Ludwig Vaillant, the 2nd Frenchman. He too, a semi-finalist in Budapest. The world number 9 this year. Still in good form, though. He was close to his personal best in Switzerland 10 days or so ago. There's only a couple of places off qualifying for the final in Budapest was Vaillant. So 6 of the first 7 from Budapest are here. The 3 fastest men in history, as I said. And 9 of the top 10 by time in the world this year go in this race. 9 lanes being used. There is Rai Benjamin. He goes in lane 5. Inside him, Dos Santos, the Brazilian world champion on this track last year. He goes in 4. That lineup from the inside again. Vaillant of France in 1. CJ Allen of the USA in 2. Happio of France in 3. Then Dos Santos there, huge fellow, was in the lift with him yesterday. He's about 6'5". He goes in 4. Rai Benjamin goes in 5. McMaster beat Warholm in Zurich 16 days ago. He goes in 6. Warholm 7. Bassett 8. Maggie 9.
Sorry.
Now McMaster very determined in Zurich as he closed down on Warholm in the last 20 or 30 meters. You can see their top of picture, top left of picture. Warholm in that yellow strip to left has blasted away. So mind you has McMaster inside him in the yellow stripe down his bodysuit. He's matching Warholm stride for stride here. It's between these two at the moment. Rai Benjamin in 5 and Dos Santos have got a lot of running to do just yet. But look at Warholm now around the crown of the bend, just snatches a meter from McMaster from the British Virgin Islands. The silver medalist is after the gold medalist. And what a run this is from Rai Benjamin in the green. Benjamin in 5, looking strong, trying to come back at Warholm. Is he going to get right off the final barrier? Rai Benjamin driving for the line, and he's going to get there. Warholm beaten again. 46.40, the fastest time in the world this year from Rai Benjamin. Well, he is the 2nd fastest man in history, and that is quite some run. Only he and Warholm have gone quicker than that, along with Dos Santos. It is superbly judged, that run from Rai Benjamin. A little bit out of left field, that, a little bit unexpected. He was the bronze medalist in Budapest. But what a run from him. He was admittedly the silver medalist back in Doha 2019 and again last year here at the World Championships. He's super consistent, but Steve may be there, that inside lane, just a couple of lanes inside Warholm, giving the American an advantage there to gauge his effort, because here Warholm, he's just lost that spark in the last 60 or 70, hasn't he, Warholm? What he normally has. He's normally pulling away at this stage, and he's struggling here. He's just looking a little flat by his standards.
Yeah, wearing the colours of Oregon, everybody on their feet in front of us, cheering Benjamin home. You just, as you said, got a sense between hurdles 9 and 10 that it was there for the taking. He had the momentum. And you're right, Warholm is normally so strong, attacking that final barrier. He was chopping his stride, losing speed, losing momentum. And Benjamin carrying it through for a new Diamond League record, 46.39. And Warholm, well, he'll have to go away and I think really think about next year, but he's got some real challenge. This has become one of the best events in the world in terms of, you know, who could win, because Dos Santos will get better after his injury problems earlier this year. Benjamin, McMaster's in the mix now. Lots to look forward to in 2024, but Benjamin ends up as the Diamond League champion.
Well, not the end of the season that Karsten Warholm would have wanted, the Norwegian, but he has the big one. He has that world title, and everything after that is really sort of little bits of icing on the cake, I suppose you could say. He has got the cake as Karsten Warholm. Rai Benjamin has got the diamond today, and that time 46.39, as Steve said, a world lead, Diamond League record, meeting record, 46.39. That is his 2nd fastest time ever.
Tim, you know, it just underlines if you're going to be a little bit off, I mean, you can't say Warholm is running awful.
I know, 46.53.
It's fabulous standard the two of them are setting. Well, the men's high jump, the field events in the world, Diamond League final, only 6 qualifier. We can have extra in there, but a small field in the high jump very quickly sorted out. And the surprise was Norbert Kobielski. In qualification in the World Championships, he set a new personal best outdoors of 2:28, or equaled it. He has done 2:29 indoors, but this, look at him, this was a different league, 2:33. And with Harrison and Kerr and Wu, suddenly they thought it would be between them. Kobielski pops up with this. Unbelievable for him. Massive jump in the form of his life. So let's see how the others responded.
Well, Wu, first attempt at 2:33. Only 6th in Budapest. The South Korean, second at these World Championships a year ago in this arena. 2:33 jumper this year, his season's best, and he equals it there. First attempt, beautiful, really fast and powerful, generates so much momentum. Then boom, that massive strength required to turn that speed into vertical lift. Beautifully judged, and he's well clear there. Tell you what, he does give a little clip, you can see the bar bouncing, but his center of gravity, well, he's well clear of that. In fact, I think maybe it was his calf just clipped it on the way over.
Well, Wu loves jumping here at Hayward Field. Won his medal at the World Championships last year for Harrison. Almost a gold medal in Budapest. Tamberi just coming out on top on count back. So the American, though, third attempt at 2:33 to match Wu. No, oh, he's got it! Just thought he made a check coming in there, but no. He's got that kind of little stutter in his approach sometimes, Harrison, and able to respond. He's been close at 2:33 on 2 attempts, and then finally going clear. He is behind on count back, but nonetheless, that doesn't matter. He's still in this as the bar's going to go higher. Incredible leap he has. He's a world-class long jumper as well. He's concentrated on the high jump in 2023, but well clear. If anything, better than Wu, but it's taken him 3 attempts to get over.
Well, that's a nice card from this event that at which so many of them can suffer towards the end of the season. You need to be hitting your absolute peak by definition in the verticals to do well. Here is Wu again, third and final attempt at 2:35. His 2:33 clearance was superb, and so is this one. Oh, on cloud 9, he is loving it, absolutely loving it. Well, that is the season's best. It equals his lifetime best, which goes back, funnily enough, to the Tokyo Olympic Games 2 years ago, 2:35. Saving his best till the last meet of the year, and he equals his national record with that pressure jump, does Wu. First to go clear. Oh, the flexibility. Quite amazing. He's enjoying himself out there too, isn't he? It's so important psychologically to be on top of your game in the verticals. You've got to believe it. So different, unique requirement in the verticals than any other discipline.
So Harrison, Kobielski failing to go clear 2:35 after his clearance at 2:33, but he's actually in second place, so Harrison has to get this to match Wu, otherwise it's third place for him. No. Well, he'll be disappointed in front of this crowd here. Harrison going out at 2:35, it will be a victory for Wu, the same height that he achieved here last year at the World Championships, equaling that national record. But for him, the main thing is that he's won the Diamond League title. Kobielski a surprise second place ahead of Harrison.
Yeah, the diamond in his hands in the bright autumnal sunshine here in Oregon. The city bedded in beautiful countryside, and a beautiful stadium this is too, and it's a beautiful stadium for Wu today.
Pretty good crowd still coming in. There's a very big football match, college football match in Eugene today as well. Some people are now heading to that after this. So early afternoon here in Eugene, perfect conditions. We've seen a fabulous 400 hurdles. Now it's the flat 400 and a great field here as well. We still don't have the 2 top men in the world because of injuries. Stephen Gardner got injured at the World Championships. Samakonga as well, just before the World Championships. However, the rest are here, and those World Championships were a pretty wide open race. Luengo Scotch of Botswana just going through. Now, Rasheen McDonald didn't get to run in the individual event, despite having run incredibly quickly all year long, and wasn't selected by the Jamaicans because he didn't run in the final at their championships. He did run in the relay, but they weren't successful, unlike the USA. But Norwood has stepped out of just his relay shoes, if you like, this year, and chased down individual success as well. Didn't quite win a medal. Kirani James was right there, but he was disqualified in the final for lane infringement. It was a great final in Budapest. Everybody lining up on that day, almost. He even had Van Niekerk, didn't you, in lane 1. Everybody seemed to have a chance, but James disqualified, looking to take this title here, the former world champion. Now, Matt Hudson-Smith of Great Britain, well, he almost had it in his grasp. 30 metres out, he'd led all the way round, and then Watson, the big surprise from Jamaica, who's not here today, came past in the final metres, but Hudson-Smith could start as the favourite here today. He knows his big rivals are the Americans either side. Quincy Hall picked up a gold medal in the 4x4, bronze medal individually. And having not won the American Championships, that was a great performance from him, because Bryce Deadman was suffering with 1 or 2 injury problems as he headed to Budapest. Hopefully he's okay now. Hasn't raced since the heats. He certainly was out of sorts there. Alexander Ogando from
200 meters. Now running the corner from the
Dominican Republic. They weren't able to put their strong mixed 4x4 team out. Ogando would have hoped to have been part of that.
And our final athlete down in lane 1.
Such a good relay quartet they have in both the mixed and indeed in the individual, in the men's event. And Gilles Biron of France, new season's best, or well, actually new personal best set in San Salvador back in July, 45.05, yet to break 44. So Kirani James and Hudson-Smith of Great Britain in lanes 5 and 6. Then you've got Norwood, Hall, Deadman, the 3 Americans in 7, 4 and 3.
On your mark.
Rasheen McDonald in lane 8. Conditions are absolutely perfect. Not a breath of wind. Sometimes gets a little breezy down the back straight here in Eugene, but not today. Men's 400 meters.
Set.
Well, it was a long hole, lane 2, just couldn't hang around anymore. That was Ogando, was away way too early. It was a long time to get them into the set position. We have to wait, obviously, till everybody is ready. The crowd are quiet, but Ogando just lost patience there, and that was as clear a false start as you're going to see.
Rare to see a disqualification of 400, Steve. That would be horrible for Ogando, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it was 2 or 3 strides in before the gun went.
Did you see? I mean, I was, paused and you're kind of going, okay, get into set. Took a long time. And that builds up the tension, doesn't it? You get into set position, but you're right. It's a 400. You don't need to be away quite as sharply. Just waiting for the starter's marksman to confirm this.
How does the old saying go? Wait for the B of bang. Oh.
So Ogando. It's a shame, because this the Diamond League final is the opportunity for athletes to come and kind of underline the season they've had. They've had to qualify to get here, first of all, by consistent performances, and then everything is decided in the race today. And you can get a surprise, sometimes when you rank 6th or 7th, you can end up 3rd or 4th, have a better day than you'd expected, better payday as well. But not for Ogando, so we are down to 8. So Biron of France on the inside. Lane 2 is empty. Then Deadman, the American champion in 3. Quincy Hall, USA, world bronze medalist, the world silver medalist in 5. Hudson-Smith. Then Kirani James. Then Vernon Norwood, Rasheen McDonald, and Luengo Scotch on the outside. safely away this time. Matt Hudson-Smith was a little slow getting out, but now is already making up ground on Kirani James. But outside James, it's Vernon Norwood who's setting the pace through this first 150 metres, and Norwood out in lane 7 just has got a lead, and Matt Hudson-Smith has pulled up down the back straight yet again. Injury issues, perhaps cramp for the British athletes. So Kirani James trying to chase Vernon Norwood. Quincy Hall and Bryce Deadman trying to get into this as well, but it's Norwood still leading. Here comes Kirani James, and look at Quincy Hall has just got this at the moment. Kirani James trying to fight back. Kirani James with a half a metre, not even that. They're neck and neck, side by side, stride for stride. It's going to be Kirani James. 44.31. Well, he had to fight for that all the way down the home straight. It was a really, really good race between the two of them. But James, well, this is the man who's won gold, silver and bronze at the Olympics, gold, silver and bronze at the World Championships. He's been around for so long, such a talent when he was younger. He's fought illnesses and injuries, and he's still running as well as ever. A new season's best has been taken down by 100, 44.30. Good performance from Hall and Norwood behind him. But Kirani James is the Diamond League champion for 2023.
Well, shame for Matt Hudson-Smith. I had him down as favourite for this one, but look at the ragged style there of Hall at the top against Kirani James, who holds his form in the yellow a little bit better over the last 25 metres. Keeps that stride length going, flailing arms, the head rocking from side to side from Quincy Hall there at the top, and actually ends up winning by best part of a metre. Does Kirani James there, and that's a great time, season's best. What a way to crown your season. I had a chat with him in the lift this morning. He's a massive fella, a man of few words, but he said, yeah, last race, looking forward to it. And what a way to wrap up your 2023 campaign.
How many times were you going up and down in that lift?
I'll just hang around and looking for people to talk to. I'm waiting for you. You're always late for breakfast.
You lost. Yeah, great performance. Smiles all around. Yes, you know, with 44.30, you know, you have to kind of keep looking at these performances at the end of what's been a long season for many of these athletes. Really high standard already in this Diamond League final. Bodes well for what is to come. Great race, yes. Pity for Hudson-Smith. He's had that season where, again, you know, he's always trying to look after his body. He's always liable to be pulling up with injury problems, and let's hope it's nothing too serious.
Well, let's take a look at the women's javelin that took place slightly earlier. So, Mackenzie Little, bronze medalist, the Australian, at the World Championships. In the opening round, Little setting the standard. This one for Little, very, very strong indeed. The conditions not really helping them. There's not a breath of wind in the arena. That one just over 61 metres for the Aussie. Commonwealth Games silver medalist last year. And that one for Little, a really solid opener, coming down at 61.24. Ended up being the best of her series. Tori Peters, well, the New Zealander, the Antipodeans having a good morning, or good afternoon, I should say, here in Eugene. Tori Peters leaving it to round 4. She opened with a 60-metre effort, then a 58, then a no throw, and then this one, 61.30. She's just eased past Mackenzie Little's 61.24 by 6 centimetres. That coming down at 61.30. Was the best of her series. Good enough for second place. But the best athlete by a couple of metres today was yet to come. She is the world's longest thrower this year, and she is the world champion. Haruka Kitaguchi of Japan, the 25-year-old, has really hit her straps well this second half of the season. She won in Budapest with 66.73. Well, today, just under 3 metres less was good enough. This was round 2 after a very modest opener of 59 metres. This second round throw for the Japanese going out to 63.78. And she took the win by, well, 2.5 metres, did Kitaguchi. She really has been in a rich vein of form through these last few weeks. Won in Brussels in 67 metres and bits a week ago. 63.78. Good enough for the diamond for the Japanese to win the women's javelin from Peters and Little.
Men's triple jump also held a little earlier. A little like the World Championship final. It hasn't been a vintage year in the triple jump. The competition in Budapest was, compared to many others we saw, kind of fairly straightforward. Scott today in round one went out to 16.84, and I think he probably might have been mildly surprised that that was still good enough for third place at the end of the competition today. 31-year-old American. Did jump 17.22 here early in the season, but 16.84 best he could muster today, but good enough for third. Well, Zango did become the world champion, as I said, at a sort of distance that, well, his was a pretty good distance, but I think it was the competition, it never really got going because of Jaden Hibbert, the exciting new Jamaican talent, got injured, didn't he? Didn't have to put any pressure, or couldn't put any pressure on Zango. But today, he was a little bit out of sorts, was really frustrated with himself. Not a breath of wind out there at all, but managing to get out to 17.25, very modest by his standards, the world champion, not able to perform to the standard he would like. And he knew that he would have to be good. Diaz Hernandez, former Cuban who now competes for Italy, and over the last 12 months has seen his citizenship come through, which he's going to be free to compete for Italy now going forward. So Andy Diaz Hernandez, right at the very beginning of the competition, had set the stall out, which Zango never really could get close to. Nice and fluid on the runway, isn't he? And just carries that momentum through. Great hang at the end. 17.43 for Diaz Hernandez. That was at the beginning of the competition, but was good enough for the win. So the tall Italian now is watching for the board all the way through here. Nicely done for him. A good way to end the season. He's been performing pretty well on the Diamond League circuit. Won in Rome and in Xiamen recently, and finishing off with the title. So on the far side of the track, women are gathering. They're not far away. I think 3,000 steeplechase, our next event on the track.
Yeah, the temperature climbing here, but still nowhere near as testing as in Budapest, where of course it was 30 plus for most sessions, up in the mid-30s for many. And quite a few athletes, especially in the distance races, really struggle with that heat and humidity. But this is pretty nice, normal summer conditions here. As you can see, this is a small but high caliber field. 11 starters in this women's steeplechase. Still only 10 women in history have gone under 9 minutes, but 9 of the top 10 from Budapest are here. This is a race of the very highest caliber. Peru Chemichai will be the pacemaker, but Winfried Mutila Yavi of Bahrain is the world champion. She's been in supreme form of late, winning in Zurich a couple of weeks back. That was just a few days after her win in Budapest. Almeu was 13th in Budapest, but won the World Under-20 title last year. There's the world record holder, Beatrice Chepkoech. Won the Diamond League final back in 2018. She won the world title in 2019. Had to settle for silver in Budapest behind Yavi. Wanda Magagin was 4th in Budapest. Faith Cheretich, the bronze medalist in Budapest in a personal best from Kenya. 3rd in Zurich too. Was a couple of weeks back, world under-20 champion last year in Cali. Courtney Wayment of the USA, 3rd in their US Championships in this arena some 2 or 3 months back. 15th in Budapest, the 25-year-old. Has run 9:09, 9:11 her best this year. That was at that extraordinary meeting in Florence back in early June. Marwa Buziani was 10th in Budapest, and Rimsek of Slovenia 6th. And Alice Finot of France, one of the top French athletes by performance in Budapest, finished in 5th there. 3 national records last year and a couple this year from Finot. Can she hang on to the Africans here? So away they go. We'll give you those kilometre splits, of course. It's always a little awkward just to get the exact lap times because they have to incorporate that water jump inside the second bend. on each lap, apart from on this first lap, of course, but they have gone off very quickly indeed, or at least it looks like Perez Chemutai has. They were looking for 2:55 through this first kilometre. That is pretty much world record tempo. It's incredibly quick. Of course, that would bring them home in 8:45, and the world record of Chepkoech from 5 years ago is 8:44.
Yeah, Tim. You ask an Olympic champion to be a pacemaker, and that's what happens. She's gone off at a crazy pace. I'm a bit surprised that she's done this herself many times and should know that that's a bit quick. We do have wave lights here. If you've been used to watching it, you can just about see in the glare of the sunlight on the far side there where the blue and the green wave lights are. So even the chasing group, if that's what you want to call them, are ahead of the wave lights. So Chemutai not really helping matters by going out this hard. But yeah, they're trying to work out, aren't they, what to do here, whether just to settle and stay with the lights, because effectively that's not really helping pacemaking-wise.
Well, and of course, our director having to ignore the pacemaker Chemutai. She's 30 metres in the lead. It's extraordinary. They've only been running a lap and a half. She's negotiated that water jump okay, but I don't know if this is a feint for actually wanting to finish the race, or if she believes she's helping anybody, but somebody 25, 30 metres ahead of you in a distance race like this is no use whatsoever. In fact, her lead is growing as she comes through the line with 6 laps to go. It's probably 30, 35 metres now. It's a little stutter there from her as we see the pack coming through with 6 laps to run. And it is Cheretich who leads. Faith Cheretich, the bronze medalist, World Under-20 champion last year in Cali, Colombia. Has a best of just outside 9 minutes. Today would be a great day to join the sub-9-minute club. As I said, there's only 10 women ever who've broken the 9-minute barrier. And in second place at the moment is the world record holder, Beatrice Chepkoech. She's tall, she's got a lovely, relaxed stride. She's one of the great racers on the flat as well as over the barriers with that big ponytail, and looks very comfortable indeed.
I think I mentioned this in Zurich, Tim. You know, this was a race where at the World Champs we were thinking, could the 3 teenagers get the 3 medals? There's a real depth of talent coming through in the steeplechase with Jacqueline Chepkoech, Almeyo of Ethiopia as well, Faith Cheretich, if you've mentioned. But it's great that, you know, the others have responded. Yavi and Beatrice Chepkoech have kind of gone, no, we're still here. You've still got to beat us.
Well, she's been... Sorry, Steve, she's being reeled in now as they go through with 5 laps to run. In fact, she does drop out, and that was one of the most bizarre pieces of pacemaking I've ever seen. They never got within more than about 10 metres of her over the first 2 and 3/4 laps. She's gone, and now the racing is on.
Men's javelin, Vadlec picked up the bronze medal behind Chopra Nadeem. That great contest between India and Pakistan, but Vadlec, who's been in great form all season and won in Zurich, beat Chopra. Chopra's only defeat of the season. So the Czech, first round. Tricky conditions, as we mentioned, with the women. But Vadlec, well, that's a decent start. Nothing too spectacular, but just sets an early mark in the men's javelin. Really fast, isn't he? That one just short of 85 metres thereabouts. 84.01 takes the early lead. Chopra with a no-throw in the first round.
They go through with 4 laps to run. It's Jacqueline Chepkoech, the Commonwealth Games champion for Birmingham last year, who leads for Kenya. But you could virtually throw a blanket over that leading 4. The world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech in second place with the long ponytail. And then also there is Cheretich, Faith Cheretich, the bronze medalist. And Winfried Mutile Yavi just hopping around the back of that group. She has a very fast finish. 4th in this stadium last year. She's 4th in the World Championships last year and 4th in this race at the moment, but probably just biding her time. That first kilometre, by the way, well, it was 2:56.21, so the pace was close to what had been asked for. As Perez Chemutai, the Olympic champion, as Steve pointed out, was the pacemaker, but nobody was remotely interested in that pace for the first kilometre. I wonder if this will dawdle this middle kilometre, and therefore the chance of breaking 9 minutes will disappear.
Yeah, it was her time, wasn't it? And you can see they're off the pace here, and the four of them just sort of looking at each other a little bit, backed off. It's a big title to win this, and it's silly kind of over-committing. I think the youngsters in the group here, though, are definitely up for this, and they're just trying to force it along a little bit. They're not as quick as Yavi on the last lap. Certainly Chepkoech, or Beatrice Chepkoech, knows that she also is likely to get out-kicked, so they won't mind forcing it on from this point. It's gone a bit slow through 2K.
Well, they're approaching 2 kilometres. Remember, we're looking for something around 6 minutes for 2K, but I think it's going to be well outside that. Now, Beatrice Chepkoech, at the age of 32, world champion back in 2019 in Doha, will have to make a long run from home if she's to shake off that finishing kick of the likes of Yavi of Bahrain. 2.5 laps to go, and the 2K point will come up, or the 2K split will come up very shortly. I think the pack probably went through in around 3 minutes for 1K. They were closing on Chemutai as 1 kilometre was reached. Yeah, 2 kilometres, 5:59. 5:59.01, so it's gone pretty well for 2K. And still, if there's a wind-up here, a chance of a 9-minute clocking or sub-9 minute clocking, but Yavi hits the front, ironically. The athlete with a big kick, 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Yavi just stepped forward down the home straight, and immediately Beatrice Chepkoech just followed in behind. The two youngsters trying to keep track there, and also Wanda McGain is desperately trying to hang on, but every time they pick up, she just drops off another 5 meters. So pace is on now. Really, it's surprising for me, though, Tim, to see Yavi take it on, because she tends to be better on the last lap than any of the others.
Well, a lap and a half to run, and Yavi, the world champion leading, obviously is feeling up for this. Remember that 2K time, 5:59, so they're on sub-9 minute tempo, and she is stretching them out. The gap's appearing. Beatrice Chepkoech in second place will be pleased to have this dragged out like this, but maybe Yavi has got something special in those legs for the final circuit as the gap grows back to Cheritic in third place, but Chepkoech in second place, matching Yavi stride for stride at the moment. Can she turn the tables on the former Kenyan who ran for Bahrain in Budapest? 1 lap to go.
She's hanging on, Beatrice Chepkoech, but she knows what the script normally says here. Yavi is just quicker on the last lap. She's got the speed between the barriers. Chepkoech tends to hurdle perhaps a little bit better, but she doesn't have the flat speed. But she's doing her best to hang on here. Just 300 meters to go. It's between these two. They've left the two youngsters 25 meters behind.
Well, Yavi in an unfamiliar position, leading by a metre and a half from the world record holder, who took the silver medal behind her at the World Championship. She's taken this on, Yavi, as Steve said. It's a little bit of a shock, a little awkward there, Yavi, as Beatrice Chepkoech closes up on her there. 200 meters to run. 1 water jump to come. Every barrier, the water jump as well, telling now as you see Beatrice Chepkoech there. Big acceleration into the water jump there as she tries to lean in on Yavi, who holds that inside line, fights her aside and goes into the straight in the lead. But Beatrice Chepkoech produced her race card then, and it didn't work, and has she got the legs to get ahead of Yavi here? Yavi grimaces. Beatrice Chepkoech glances over her shoulder, settles for second, and Yavi rushing towards the line. I mean, look at the clock. It is super fast. It's a meeting record, 8:50.67. It's the second quickest time in history, and Yavi responsible for that. The world champion becomes Diamond League champion, and all credit to her for taking the bull by the horns with 3 laps to go, pouring on the pace through the final kilometre and racing to that super quick time. Winfried Mutila Yavi runs a personal best there by some almost 4 seconds. 8:50.66. As things stand, still Beatrice Chepkoech, the only athlete in history under 8:50, but that clocking of 8:50.66, of course, an area record and a new personal best for Yavi. Brilliant, brilliant running sting. It had it all. She had the kick down the home straight there, having led through those last 3 laps. She had enough.
Yep, she's certainly been rewarded with having a go from the last 1,000, and what a last 1,000 meters it was, around about 250, Tim. I'll get it exactly, but maybe 251 thereabouts. And all of that really was because she decided to go for it earlier than we might have expected, and then Chepkoech trying to challenge and just managing. Yavi's always got the flat speed, as we mentioned. She's just a little bit pacier between the barriers. Chepkoech tends to take them better. Even off this last one here, you think, has she still got a chance? Because she just closes another meter, but Jarvi always has that ability to find that little bit extra, and that's a big, big performance. 8:50, it's an area record for her, because she doesn't represent Kenya, of course. So Jarvi, Diamond League champion, world champion, and now second fastest in the world ever. And it was done the tough way, the slow second kilometre. And you have to say that first kilometre, Tim, they didn't get much help at all, really, from the pacemaker, Chemutai. So it was an up and down race, literally. It always isn't the steeplechase like that, if you pardon the pun.
Well, Jarvi winning then, area record, 8:50.66, the second quickest time in history. Beatrice Chepkoech, the world record holder, settling for second here again, as was the case at the World Championships in Budapest. Indeed, the 1-2-3 in this Diamond League final, the same as the 1-2-3 in Budapest. Jarvi, Chepkoech and Faith Cherotich taking third place. They're just dipping under 9 minutes for the first time, a personal best for Faith Cherotich. That's one very, very satisfying performance from her, just to make it onto the rostrum.
Victory lap? Victory lap? You want to take a lap?
Do you know how tired I am?
It almost came across as that, didn't it? So, really?
Yes, are you serious?
Yeah. Okay, great race, great performance, and we mentioned right at the beginning the high standard already being set in the Diamond League final, at least on the track. Vadlec leading in the men's javelin. Chopra, I mentioned, had a no-throw in round one. This is Helander. A big Finn. Finland still with that great tradition in the javelin. Whoa, and that's a good effort from him in these conditions. Helander wouldn't be necessarily expected to challenge the top two, Vadlec and Chopra. Anderson Peters here as well, but he's been really out of sorts this year. Won the World Championship title here in Eugene in 2022, Peters, but not having a particularly good season. Helander then, 83.67, moves into second place. So here is Chopra. Needs to get things going here, finds himself trailing. So the Indian just unleashes a pretty decent effort there. That's going to come just a little bit short there. Well, Chopra has to deal with things that perhaps some of the other athletes don't. He's such a major figure back home in India, has an immense following on social media. Doesn't throw as often these days. You know, the last 3-4 years when he's risen to the top of the world, usually only 3, 4, 5 competitions a year, and was beaten in Zurich, as I mentioned, by Vadlec, and still trailing. 83.80 for Chopra in the second round.
Well, Helander then, in round 3, Oliver Helander. 7th in Budapest, the 26-year-old Finn. Really unleashes that one with a whipping action, doesn't he? And that's not bad at all. That's very, very close to the lead. Vadlec opening, remember, with that 84.01. That's not as far. Helander opened with a 78, then an 83, and he improves marginally there from his second round effort, 83.67 to 83.74. Stays in third.
Bruni of Italy in the pole vault, early stages on the back straight in the women's pole vault. They'll be royally entertained there. Whoa, that stays on. Third attempt before 56 for Roberto Bruni. So that keeps her involved. She took 3 attempts to get over the opening height of 4:41. We've got Nina Kennedy, Katie Moon, who shared the gold medal at the World Championships. Sandy Morris coming back to some decent form as well, the American. Wilma Murto, the European champion and world medalist. Tina Sute of Slovenia making up the rest of the field. So Bruni still involved. Just. Pretty warm now, the sun high in the sky, middle of the day. It's getting up to around 30 degrees, I mentioned earlier on, but it is good conditions. In fact, excellent conditions for the athletes. Not too hot. Faint breeze, if you like, but nothing to speak of either in the jumps. So the women's triple jump yet to come as well. And that on the home straight. Already seeing the men's triple jump. Diaz Hernandez winning that one.
Next event on the track, by the way, the women's 1500 metres. That's due off in about 5 minutes' time. The athletes will be introduced to this stadium crowd here who know their middle and long distance racing so well. They'll be introduced in just a couple of minutes' time. This field event action still enthralling.
So Anderson Peters, I mentioned that win here last year. You may be aware that after that he got involved in an altercation on a boat, didn't he, when he went back home to Grenada and got injured in that. And I think that really upset everything, that he's had such a brilliant year last year and hasn't been able to reproduce that in any way, shape or form, the big man. Anderson Peters looks a bit of a sorry looking athlete around these days, just at the moment. I'm sure he'll get it back together again. It was a huge throw here last year, over 90 meters, and I think his best this year is 78. He does have a season's best around 85, I think, but he's been generally below 80 meters most of the season, including in Budapest. Didn't qualify for the final, so won't be troubling the top 2 or 3 here.
I suppose what we should be alluding to more, Steve, is just how late this is in the season, isn't it? You know, middle of September, Diamond League final. The first Diamond League meeting was back in late April, or was it early May?
Early May, wasn't it? Yes,
I mean, it's been an extraordinarily long season. So many of these athletes on their last legs, going to the World One final time. It's a big ask, and yet we've already had some incredible performances. Bruni, that first attempt at 471, she's cleared 456. No, that looks a little laboured from the Italian. She's the first to attempt that height. Early stages just yet. After this, the bar goes up to 481, 10-centimetre increments already.
Wilma Murto, Suter's just behind them. The two of them were pretty well matched to the world champs. The medal went on count back in the end. The top 2 couldn't be separated, shared the gold medal, and the bronze in the end went to Murto on count back. First attempt for her at 471. What a night it was for her in Munich at the European Championships last year. Great junior talent, and then seemed to sort of lose her way and gradually got back, and in 2022 right back into world class. Well, that looked nice, and just at the end there, 471, first real test of the better pole vaulters here. Did take 2 attempts to get over the previous height at 456, so she probably won't be stressing too much about this. And I think she had the height there, didn't she? Just didn't get the penetration across over the bar, came down on it. On her way down. Suter next to attempt this height. Would have loved to have picked up a medal at the Worlds. So frustrating. Cleared 482 indoors this year on Ostrava. 480 at the World Championships. Really has improved in recent years, the Slovenian. Maybe put that down as a little bit of a sighter, but adjustments to be made for her. Okay, on the far side, women out for that 1500 Tim mentioned.
They are indeed, yes. 14 starters in this women's 1500 metres, which is of the very highest order. It does feature the world record holder, the Olympic and world champion Faith Kipyegon of Kenya. 25 women have broken 4 minutes for 1500 metres this year in this new age of middle distance running. And I can tell you that in that lineup there are 8 finalists from Budapest. boasting rights then in this final race of the season will be keenly contested. The pacemaker there is Laurie Barton of the USA. She's been asked to go out in 3:2:05, and then continuing that 62.5-second pace, 3:07.5 at 1,200 metres if she can get that far. She's only a 4:09 1,500 metre runner, so there's a question mark over that. But Barton there to the left is the pacemaker. Faith Kipyegon, well, 4 times a world champion, 3 times at 1,500 metres. Of course, she took the double in Budapest at 1,500 and 5,000 metres 2 or 3 weeks back. Not lost a championship 1,500 metres since Doha 2019, when she lost to Sifan Hassan. Laura Muir, 6th in Budapest. She's had a bit of an up and down season. Coaching changes at the beginning of the year. A very solid season nonetheless from Laura Muir, who's been going well. She won in Brussels last week. Jessica Hull, 7th in Budapest. Mesele of Ethiopia, semi-finalist in the Budapest 800 metres. Lyndon Hall is there, she too a semi-finalist in Budapest. Halom, Berke Halom, 9th in Budapest. Hailu, Throweni Hailu, was 7th in the Budapest 5,000. She's strong, she may lead with that 5,000 string. Kira McGeeran of Ireland in fabulous form, setting a national record just last week. That was in Brussels, 3:55. He's had a really consistent summer. Hirut Meshesha is in good form as semi-finalist in Budapest. And Welteji, well, she was the silver medalist in Budapest, just 21 years old, best of 3:55 earlier on this summer. Corey McGee of the USA made that final in Budapest. The American was 10th there. Melissa Courtney Bryant was 12th in Budapest, the Commonwealth bronze medalist from way back in 2018. She's had more than her fair share of injuries in this career. And Sinclair Johnson of the USA, another Budapest semi-finalist. The women's 1,500. So if they do go out at anything like 62.5 second tempo, then we are into something special. Remember, Faith Kipyegon going for her 6th win at the Prefontaine Clash. She won here in 2016, 2017, 2019, 21, 22, and this will be her 3rd consecutive year of victory in Pre if she were to win here, as they follow the pacemaker Laurie Barton. And it is Faith Kipyegon who slots it right onto her shoulder there. The others allowing her to control things at the moment, although it's slowing, Steve, as you can see, with Laura Muir moving down the outside. She's trying to maintain a steady tempo. After about 200 metres, it really did slow there. And the pack bunching behind Laurie Barton, who goes through here in, what, about 46.5, 47 seconds. So she's more or less on schedule.
Yeah, lights are helping a lot, but you know, Laura Muir is smart and takes 300 metres to find your position. You don't need to push and shove in the first 100, 200. Well stretched out, though, as you said. That pace is going to be quick. I just don't know whether Laurie Barton is going to be able to keep this going for as long as Faith Kipyegon would perhaps like. So Kipyegon may well be out in front. And look at that already. She's just checked back a little bit. Was running with that green light. The pace that the light is meant to be set is about 3:52, 3:53. But I'm really interested in this as a race here. Can any of them give Kipyegon something to think about? Can they push her at all?
Well, she holds the world record at 1,500, holds the world record at mile. Remember that 4:07 earlier on this summer. She holds the world record at 5,000. She's got enormous strength and speed as Faith Kipyegon. She has pretty much produced an aura of being unbeatable at women's 1,500 metres as Laurie Barton accelerates through to 700 metres, just pulling herself a little bit clear of Kipyegon, who in turn is pulling clear of Welteji, and Laura Muir in 3rd place, moving around the outside there aggressively. I think that was Hailu as she chases Kipyegon, recognises that the world record holder is getting away. 800 metres, 2:05.26. That's another 62.64, 62, almost identical.
I'm a massive fan of Berke Halon, the young 17-year-old Ethiopian who's just slotted in there. She's going to be one for the future. She runs very bravely and is an incredible talent. Not yet to challenge Kipyegon, but it was interesting, wasn't it, that she decided, come on, we're letting her get away. Too late now, though. She's away and continues to move away from the pack.
500 metres to run then for Faith Kipyegon. How they love their middle distance running in Hayward Field, and that gap at 15 metres, 17 metres, it's growing all the time. The pack working hard to go with her, but she's away, and she should be. On paper, she's seconds quicker than this field when you look at their personal best. Goes through the bell there in something around 2:52. This is going to be super fast from Faith Kipyegon. She's still going strong. The Olympic champion, the world champion, indeed 4 times world champion, through 1,200 metres. And look at that third lap, 60.81, 3:06. She's ahead of schedule at 1,200. Wolteji and Halom in second and third. Great athletes like Laura Muir struggling to get even close to Kipyegon. 200 metres to run, and still she drives hard with the arms. She's such a beautiful, fluid-looking athlete. The gap has grown to 25, maybe 30 metres around the crown of the bend. She is a class apart as she comes into the straight, and rightly, the crowd rises to its feet to greet this majestic champion through the last 50 metres. Watch the clock, it's not going to be far shy of her own world record. Fantastic running from Faith Kipyegon, crosses the line there, 3:50.71. Well, I can tell you that only Genzebe Debaba and a couple of Chinese athletes from the 90s have run as quick as that. A meeting record, of course, a supreme exhibition run effectively from Faith Kipyegon. The dominance against a high caliber field was extraordinary. And Steve, you feel as though with the pacemaker today taking her a little bit further into the race, she might have threatened her own world record. 3:49.11 her world record, about a second and a half quicker than that. Wolteji and Muir, fabulous running from them for the minor places. But Faith Kipyegon, you just run out of superlatives.
Well, you're right. You know, it's difficult to really put into context how she is running, and given how, well, go back to Florence, when was it? Early June. Has just kept this up all the way through the season. Great performances behind, as you said, Wolteji, the silver medalist, Laura Muir. Laura Muir running her second fastest ever 1,500 metres, not far off the British record. Lyndon Hall smashing, again, been chasing records, exchanging them with Jess Hull. So it's not just what Kipyegon is doing for herself, she's pulling these other women to super fast times, has been doing it all season long. They're a great bunch, they all get on pretty well, they all know each other well, and they're all very happy for Faith Kipyegon. I think there, she just had a little bit of a sniff at the bell. She suddenly thought, wow, I'm not that far away. You're right, that wasn't it a 60, that kind of third lap round to the 1,500 metre start. Just got a little tired the last 150, but we'll allow her that because she's running so fast. Great 1,500, big gap between her and the rest, but a lot of big performances. Personal best record for Hull in 5th place. Great times.
Almost feels, Steve, as though maybe the first couple of laps had been a little bit quicker, then she wouldn't have needed that extreme third lap of just outside 60 seconds, and the world record would have been on. But there'll be opportunities aplenty in years to come. At the age of 29, Kipyegon is in her prime, and there's no reason to believe that it will dull that supreme vein of form she's maintaining. Well, the Olympic year beckons. Will she retain her title? Very, very special. She recovers so quickly too. Brilliant, brilliant running.
I mentioned earlier, a rejuvenated Sandy Morris, a really tricky season for her. 3-time world silver medalist, including here last year, 471. And she's over. Sandy Morris knows that Katie Moon, Nina Kennedy have been moving the pole vault on a little bit. Sandy, who's had quite a few problems the last couple of years, has found some good form at the end of the season, and that is a good first-time clearance for her. So here we go, Katie Moon then having to match that, having failed first time at this height. Second attempt at 471 for the American Olympic champion, joint world champion, and makes that look very easy indeed, as she usually does. So she joins Sandy Morris, clear at 471.
Well, she loves jumping here in front of a US crowd. Katie Moon was very bubbly at her press conference yesterday. This is the stage of the season where the athletes can really bathe in the glory, all the hard work, the many months of training, preparing for the summer, the peak of the summer, the championships. Look at the margin of clearance there for Katie Moon. That was a massive clearance, 471. She cleared that by, I don't know, 25 centimetres, maybe more. Here's Nina Kennedy then. Kennedy, of course, joint world champion with Moon. Third and final attempt for the Australian. Oh, gives that quite a clatter, and that's a shame, because she was way over that. She had the height. Just brings it down on the way down. There's Nina Kennedy. It's only her second height. She cleared 456, her opener first time. And then 3 failures, 471. And out she goes, finishing in 5th place. Forgivable. Long season. So many of these Aussies performing out of season for them effectively, and around the other side of the world, desperate to get home, of course. But Kennedy, nothing to be ashamed of. What a year she has had.
Well, talk about saving your best for the end of the season. Shanika Ricketts, first time over 15 meters in the women's triple jump in Brussels. A couple of weeks ago, was it that long? 10 days ago, something like that. Anyway, Shanika Ricketts, first attempt. Rojas is here. Lafon, Kimberly Williams, a teammate of Ricketts as well, but here she goes. Great form at the moment. Reaching out, well, not quite towards that 15-meter line, but it's a decent start for the Jamaican. Silver medal here last year, and indeed in 2019 in Doha. I nearly said 16, wow, that would be good. 14, 69.
Well, we can go live to Ricketts now, second round jump, 14.69, a fabulous opener from her. She has the lead. Good speed, lovely, fluid. That looks big as well. That might even have improved it marginally. Yep, that's the green light. And the Ricketts there, good on the board, giving away 11 centimetres. Improves by 10 centimetres, finds another 4 inches, 14 meters 79. The wind, interestingly, plus 2.5, just over the limit. So it has started gusting a little bit down there in the arena. I wish it would up here. It's getting pretty warm still.
Yeah, the flags, the tall flags at the top corner are fluttering away now. They've been still most of the morning. Incidentally, Rojas, no jump in the first round, so this her second round attempt to try and register. What a tricky World Championships it was for the great Yulimar Rojas. Has carried everything before her for what seems like years now, and then all of a sudden in the World Championships looked as though it wasn't going to happen for her, but then right at the end, 15.08 it was, I think, to get ahead of Bekra Manchuk, took the gold medal again. So even on a bad day, on an off day, still too good for everybody else. But she has a lot of respect now for the women who are jumping. A bit like we mentioned earlier, you know, when you get one person starts pushing the distances, the times, and then others follow through. Ricketts, who we've just seen having a great end to her season. Bekra Manchuk moved up from the long jump to the triple jump with great success. But Rojas still #1.
Well, let's go over to the women's pole vault, where Sandy Morris is vaulting now at 4 meters 81. Can tell you that Tina Sutej has gone clear. Oh, no. Morris, their first attempt, cleared the 2 previous heights, 456, 471 first time, but 481, her first failure.
So here we go then, she's got the crowd interested. Good crowd in the home straight here. So Rojas, good entertainer, isn't she, as well? No mark in the first round. Got to get up towards that 15-meter line if she's to take the lead here. Ricketts leading, 14.79. Long, languid stride of hers. It's not far off. Pretty good on the board, it seemed to be.
Was that beyond 15 metres, Steve? Looked like it.
Well, it's a failure, though. As I said, I was just waiting, like her, to see if that came up. She said it was good on the board. It was almost perfect. But that laser, which determines as to whether it's a no jump, as I said, no. Ricketts still leads.
So Katie Moon then has cleared 490 this year, her lifetime best 495. That was here in Eugene 2 years ago. This, her first attempt at 481, the joint world champion, the Olympic champion, in front of the home crowd, yes. Makes it look easy. We saw Sandy Morris fail her opening attempt at this. That would have been a season's best for Sandy Morris, who Steve said coming back to her best form. But Katie Moon, super consistent. World champion last year in this arena, retained her title, albeit with a shared gold with Kennedy of Australia in Budapest. And there's plenty of daylight there between her and the bar. 481, bar will move up to 486 after this.
Well, excitement building for the first of the two sprint clashes. Men will go first. We're going to see Noah Lyles in this one against an excellent field. And we mentioned the wind there. It's just dropped. You just want it to kind of be around the 2-meter mark, a little bit less. You can see those flags just to the right of the picture there. The Oregon, or University of Oregon flag, the US flag, just fluttering now rather than being stretched out in the wind or the breeze. So it may just help these 100-meter runners. A lot of talk yesterday at the press conference about times, and Noah Lyles kind of saying, hey, look, you know, you should be thankful for how we're going, but I can run faster. So let's see them introduced here. Johan Blake is still actually the Diamond League record holder. With, see that time there, 9:69. That was in Lausanne a good few years ago. Former world champion Akeem Blake of Jamaica took part in the relay team where they picked up a bronze medal, was their lead-off runner actually in the heats and in the final. 21-year-old is going to be in lane 2. Then Ferdinand Omanyala of Kenya has had a great season this year. However, at the World Championships, just let himself down a little bit, he would say. Didn't get into the final.
2019 world champion,
powerfully built Kenyan in lane 3. Then the former world champion, Christian Coleman. Well, he certainly doesn't talk as much as Lyles and others, but on his day, still capable of springing a surprise.
In lane 5, last year on this track, he won
Excuse me, Omanyala was in the final, wasn't he? 7th, got that wrong. He was behind this man though, wasn't he? Everybody was.
The 100, the 200, and he anchored the 4x100-meter relay from the United States, Noah Lyles.
Well, you just have to let him get on with it, don't you? I didn't want to say anything to spoil his entrance. Noah Lyles trying to whip up the crowd here. He's a big favourite, and they'll be looking forward to what he can do. Can he certainly run quicker than 9:83? Letsile Tebogo, this great talent from Botswana, picked up the silver medal in the 100, the bronze in the 200, following Lyles. And again, another great talent. Now watch out for this man here, Kashane Thompson. Bit of a strange season. He ran really fast in the heats of the Jamaican Championships. His coach, Stephen Francis, decided not to let him run the final. He therefore wasn't in the Jamaican team. He was named as an alternate, wasn't used in the relays, but then came back and almost won the Shearman Diamond League. He's certainly an up-and-coming young Jamaican. He'll have Bracey Williams of the USA alongside him in lane 8. And then Joshua Hartmann of Germany will be trying to hang on to the shirt tails of these quick men out in lane 9. So Lyles will be in lane 5, Coleman next to him in lane 4. Coleman would normally get out a little bit quicker. Such a good 60-meter runner indoors, but Lyles with that ability to maintain his speed. Tobogo for all of his talent there as well. Omanyala on his day, certainly capable of springing a victory here. And watch out, as I mentioned, for Thompson of Jamaica in lane 7. So 9.83, the quickest in the world this year. Zarnell Hughes of Great Britain, Lyles and Coleman all run exactly the same time. It's more about who wins here today, though.
Set.
False start in lane 2, that looked to me. Akeem Blake away sharply. Well, the 21-year-old. Let's watch here.
Yeah, not even close, was it, Steve?
You might argue there was a little twitch. I don't think so, though. I think it was just all about him. It's a bit like, you know, when you forgot your homework. How many excuses can you come up with?
Excuses?
Well, you know, there was the crowd. I heard a noise. Guy next to me twitched. A fly came past.
You've got to love his mottos. Slow feet do not eat, and I'm hungry. He's going to be more hungry now.
Okay.
That's a shame.
Right, here we go again then. So we're left with the Johan Blake, former world champion in lane 1, then 2 now empty. Ferdinand Omanyala, the African champion, in 3. Christian Coleman in 4, former world champion. The new world champion, Noah Lyles, in 5. Letsile Tobogo, best junior in the world, now moved up to the seniors. He's going to be in 6. Then Kashane Thompson, this almost unknown Jamaican. There he is between Tobogo and Bracey Williams. Very powerful runner. His coach, Stephen Francis, says we're developing him slowly. It's why we didn't want him to run 2 races back-to-back at the Jamaican Championships. But learning to compete with the world's best now. So Lyles in 5, Coleman in 4. Lyles gets a decent start. Coleman perhaps got out just better than him and is already going away. Lyles has got some work to do. Omanyala right up there as well. And Kashane Thompson. It's going to be very close. It's going to be Coleman, I think, gets it. Well, we said about the time we're going to wait for that to be confirmed. It is 9:83 unofficially, but no doubt about the winner. I'm not sure he knew, but I think it was fairly evident. He got a decent start. I thought Lyles got a pretty good start, but he just then didn't get into his running quickly enough. And yes, he was there at the end, but Coleman, once he got that little lead at about 50 meters, there were challenges all around, and Thompson yet again has produced another big performance to finish 3rd there. But Coleman kept his nerve as the others were charging around him. And look how much that means to him. As I said, he doesn't talk as much, does he, as the likes of Lyles and others. He's letting them have all the histrionics. And indeed, Lyles, you know, is the world champion, but he'll not be too pleased, I don't think. He's not going to run the 200 here in the Diamond League final. He won't be here tomorrow. He came here just to win this one, and he failed. Christian Coleman is the Diamond League champion.
Well, don't forget, Steve, that Lyles had wrapped up his season. He said after Zurich, didn't want to race here, and then I think maybe with a bit of pressure from his fans and on social media, he decided he would race here. So this was sort of an afterthought for Lyles. He was coming strongly. He got a reasonable start, but look at the way Coleman pulls away from him there. Grabs a metre between sort of 20 and 50, and Lyles coming back at him, ran out of track. I think if there'd been another 20 or 30 metres, Lyles might have got there, but it wasn't. It was a 100. He does well to get up to 2nd. Coleman takes it there more comfortably than the time suggests. Brilliant start from Coleman and yellow, 3rd from top. Lyles way down at halfway. He had so much running to do, and he nearly made it.
Yeah, the top 4. You've got to throw Thompson in there now as a real contender as we head towards 2024. Well, we're not quite done with 2023, but he's finished on a high and being named for everybody to conjure with. But Omanyala in there with Lyles, but Coleman holding on for the win. And that wind pretty much perfect, 0.1 meters per second behind them. Still 9:83, quickest in the world this year. That's a surprise. So the 2 embrace, but the former world champion beating the current world champion. Good end to the season for Christian Coleman.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because Coleman seems like he's been around for such a long time. He won that gold in Doha 2019, but he's still only 27. His best years could yet be ahead of him, Coleman, although he's had a bit of a roller coaster ride this last couple of years. But that's what, the third or the fourth 983 of the year. Nobody yet getting down there in the 9.7s. Back to the pole vault, though. Sandy Morris now. We saw Morris fail her first attempt at 481. She's passing any further attempts at that. She's had one failure at 486, so this is last chance saloon for Sandy Morris. Nobody yet clear at this height. Katie Moon leads along with Sutej. They both cleared 481 first time and had identical cards up to that height. But Sandy Morris down in third place. Here, second attempt at 486. Would ease into the lead if she can go over this. And she is well capable of it. She's a 5-meter vaulter from all of 7 years ago. That was in Brussels, 2016, Morris. 3 times World Outdoor Championships silver medalist. Twice, though. She's been top of the pile indoors. She's won the World Indoor title back in 2018 and then again in Belgrade last year.
You saw a little shake of the head, Tim, from Sandy Morris. Really not ready. I don't know if she's even going to take this attempt.
It's unusual. So experienced, isn't she? And is that Morris therefore out of the competition? She's yeah, getting a hug there from Kennedy. I think that is
I just saw
Morris
when
done.
she was,
It is, yeah.
She was on the runway, she was looking, and a bit of a shake of the head, decided no.
Well, that's disappointing. Kennedy, of course, clearing 456 is the best this year. The Australian down in 5th place and gone. Katie Moon here. Second attempt at 486 for her. She shares the lead with the Slovenian Tina Sutej. Oh, gives that a clatter. I thought it was going to stay up. Her clearance at 481 was superb. She was well clear. And that's 2 failures for her as well. Sutej had 2 failures also.
Rojas in the triple jump on the other side of the infield. Ricketts still leads with 14.79. Rojas with 2 no jumps, the second one by, what, maybe a millimetre or 2. Here she goes again. Third attempt. Well, it's not long by her standards, but it's a legal jump. Shake of the head from her as well. So Rojas, at least on the board. There's only 5 women taking part in this triple jump. There have been a few problems with far behind. There have been a few problems with 1 or 2 athletes' visas in the last couple of days, getting them here. And at this stage of the season, it's really hard to replace people. Certainly, you have to have enough points to qualify unless you get a wild card entry. So Rojas then with 14.53, and she was 36 centimetres behind the board.
I know, and with that sort of ability to measure how far behind the board, some people would say, well, just add it on to the distance jumps. I mean, that's how far she has actually triple jumped. But anyway, talking about struggling to get into the country, Steve, and visas, a certain gentleman who's the world champion couldn't get in for this race.
Yes, sadly, El Bakali not here. The Moroccan, the great Moroccan, is unavailable to compete in this steeplechase. And Lamecha Girma, the new world record holder, is injured. So those 2 who contested the World Championship final, with the others trailing in their wake a little bit, sadly not here. However, that then gives the chance for others to step up. The likes of young Simon Koech of Kenya, who's a great young talent. Firewu as well, the young Ethiopian, up against his more experienced and more well-known teammate, Wale. He's had a tricky year. I say he's more experienced, he's still only 23 himself, Wale. Won the Diamond League final in 2019 when he himself was just a teenager. So really good conditions still. That breeze is picking up down that back straight, though. The flags are certainly now easy to see when you couldn't quite work them out earlier on when they were hanging rather limply.
Of Kenya and Kibiwott of Kenya.
I'll try and work out what the third one is.
The men's 3,000-metre steeplechase.
So in the sunshine on the back straight, Novak will be asked to set a pace, kind of get them in and around the 8-minute mark. So he wants to go through in around 2:40, 5:20. The lights will be trying to help as well, but we only have one pacemaker. Not quite sure how far Novak will get. And then it'll be a case of who's feeling good on the day, who wants to take this on. We do have Abraham Kibiwott in this race as well, the bronze medalist behind Bakali and Gurma. And I mentioned young Koech, Firewu.
Genet Wali of Ethiopia, there he is, starting
Koech
in
just
position
recently
10, the Diamond League final
turned
winner in
20,
2019.
there he is.
Simon Kiprop Koech starts in
Firewu
position
at
9,
19 next to him.
the 20-year-old.
Koech has got a lovely action, you know, when you in the steeplechase, you know, you find the ones who really can hurdle as well. And he's definitely in that category. Kibiwott should be just about the one to beat here. He'll be thinking, right, without the big two, can I stamp my authority on this race? Arche of Spain in this. Keegan, who was running so well 3-4 years ago. Sime, another good Ethiopian. What about George Beamish? What a performance from him this year at the steeplechase. He's really just getting to know the event, based in Colorado, the New Zealander under Dathan Ritzenheim, and has made a great start to his steeplechase career. Bunch of personal bests this year. So where they go, one that I haven't mentioned, Ryuji Miura in the blue of Japan. And Miura has really been a bit of a revelation really in the steeplechase as well. I mean, you have to look, you can't really look beyond the Kenyans and the Ethiopians in this, and then El Bakali from Morocco, but the likes of Miura, who's been brilliant. He's only 21 himself as well. Big performance, got under 8:10 in Paris. Ran a great race at the Olympic Games, and that record, he's been around that 8-9 mark 2-3 times, but he saves his best for the big races, these big championship races. So he did well in Budapest. He's at the back of the field at the moment, though.
Well, it'll be fascinating, Steve, to see who imposes themselves on this race, if anybody, with the big two missing, as you said, El Bakali and Gurma, the gold and silver medalists respectively from Morocco and Ethiopia, absent. And if they go with Novak's early pace here, 2:40 they've been asked for the first kilometre, that is 8-minute pace, then it could be pretty quick. The world record, of course, by Gurma, set in Paris back in early June, 7:52. We're not expecting anything like that, but something down around 8 minutes would be special. It's a case of whether or not anybody's prepared to really grasp this opportunity to dominate, go with Novak, and cut out a really quick early pace. Meeting record, 8:01 by Ezekiel Kemboy. It goes back to 2015, 8 years ago now. So, Kimberly Williams then, round 3 in this triple jump. Now, Ricketts opened with 14:69, then improved to 14:79. That is still the lead. Kimberly Williams in second place, opened with 14:37, and then improved to 14:50. This is a round 3 effort. Now, 7th in Budapest. It's been solid since. Good opening phase, and that's a fabulous final phase into the sand from the Jamaican, chasing her teammate Ricketts with 14:79, and that from Kimberly Williams, 14:61. It's a season's best.
Decent pace being still set here by Novak. Genet Wale, the experienced Ethiopian who's used to these kind of pace races, is just trying to latch onto him, getting closer now, but he's gradually pulling that group behind him with the two youngsters, Firewu and Koech. Here's Sute.
Well, ironically, there's a jump-off in this pole vault between Sutej and Moon. They're identical on paper. Sutej clearing 481 first time. That was a personal best for the Slovenian. But at the moment, matching each other vault for vault.
Yeah, just before it broke off for that, just saying the two youngsters, Ferreru, Koech with Kabiwat, Serem there as well, just going back a little bit, and Sime, who got very close. Ferreru just dropping off slightly as well. And then interesting is Miura of Japan and Beamish just trying to stay with this sort of pace. It was 2:41 through the first kilometre, so it's right on that 8-minute mark, and Novak doing a good job to try and keep that going. But the others were a couple of seconds off it. I expect that we'll see quite a big, fast last kilometre. Koech now moving closer to Wale, but they're stretched. In fact, they're really stretched here as they come round with 4 to go.
Single file, though. I mean, 2:41 isn't exactly hanging about. You're still talking about 8:03 tempo, 8:04 tempo. It's always, though, this middle kilometre that is telling. So often athletes can close quickly over the last couple of laps, wind it up, but it's the middle section that dictates whether or not you're going to get a really quick time. And at the moment, Wale, Steve, doing the work behind Nowak, who's doing a pretty good job. I mean, 2:41, it's only a click away from the required 2:40.
Koech looks as though he wants to take us on. Indeed, just as I say that, he goes past Wale with that lovely action of his. It's a really good-looking run. I think Kenya have got a real talent heading forward. Look at, see how he takes that. He hurdles that water jump almost all the way out through the water. Katie Moon then in this jump off in the pole vault.
Yeah, Sutesh already with a personal best of 4:81. The bar at 4:86. They've each had 2 failures. The American, the Olympic champion, and Tina Sutesh, who was a 4th in Budapest. Inseparable at the moment. This for Katie Moon to throw the gauntlet down to Sutesh, and she nails it. Goes clear. Well, Moon throwing the gauntlet down to Sutesh. And that should be her 3rd attempt at 4:86. The caption not yet explaining that. They both cleared 4:81 first time. They've each had 2 failures at 4:86. That's the 3rd attempt at 4:86 for Moon, and she is indeed in the lead.
Simon Koech doing a great job here of trying to not only win this, but head for a decent time as well. Every time he comes down here, he's looking up at the big screen. It's actually on one of the field events at the minute, so not letting him know what's going on behind him. Ferreru's done well to hang on to Wale. Wale just a little look over his shoulder, sees his teammate there with 2 laps to go, though. The one thing that Koech knows, though, he has to get this moving and make it hard, and I've seen him get out kicked a couple of times, and when he ran so well earlier in the season in the Diamond League in Monaco, he just kept running away from everyone, and he beat Kabiwat on that occasion, who's now distant Kabiwat, the world medalist. It's these 3 well ahead of everybody else, but he hasn't got rid of them yet.
Well, that second kilometre, 3:03, almost a 3:04 after the opener, 2:41, was so good with the pacemaker of Nowak. A good job he did. But Steve, as they come to this water jump now, lap and a half to go. He hurdles that one in that style that the East Africans have sort of nailed and are gradually enforcing on the rest of the world. The old technique, of course, 1 foot on top of the barrier. But it does save time, I think, if you've got the strength to land and run on strongly out of the water. And that gap is pretty big at the moment. He's just within range, I think.
Well, these two know each other well. They ran against each other in the World Junior Championships in 21. There was actually 2 Junior Championships back-to-back. Ferreru won medals in both. Koech had moved out of the junior ranks last year, but back in 21, the 2 of them chased for the silver and the bronze, and Koech knows that both of them know each other very well. And look how Koech does not want to leave this to the home straight. It's going to be pretty quick. And Tim mentioned it was actually 2:43 the second kilometre, but within range here. So Koech, oh, look at Ferreru, just stumbles over there. It's his technique that helps, and when you're tired, having a better technique really just can't help you maintain that momentum. When you're fatigued, look at that lovely action over the water jump, whereas Ferreru has to put his foot on it, lose another metre or 2. And here's Koech then, big win in Monaco early in the season, and his next win's going to come in the Diamond League final. It's going to be a pretty quick time. 8:4 is his best. He's not going to be too far away from that, maybe a little bit outside, but it's a pretty dominant run from Simon Koech of Kenya. Takes the title, 8 minutes 6 in the end. Ferreira was there, and a fast finishing George Beamish is going to take third. Another great performance from the US-based New Zealander, but no doubt about our winner. Two youngsters here, that's Ferreira on the ground, but Simon Koech is away off on his lap of honour, there he is, having completely taken the race by the scruff of the neck. He has that ability, you know, he doesn't mind getting out in front, and I think as he develops, Tim, he's definitely a sub-8 minute runner in the reckoning, and as El Bakali and Germa still continue to run as fast as they do, he's still got a way to go. But if they start to slow down a little bit, as I'm sure they will at some point in the next 2-3 years, he's only going to get better.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he gets much better than that, he'll be right up there with El Bakali and Germa. Just 20 years old, and his strength over the final 300 meters. When you think that with 300 to go, his opponent, Ferreira, was breathing down his neck, he just blew him away over the last 300, 250. Really strong over that final water jump. He was full of running. And I thought he was going to threaten his own personal best, but it matters not. This is about man against man, and he's a very comfortable winner there, Steve, by, what, some 4 seconds and more.
Yes, very impressive. Little look over his shoulder, but Ferreira was tired on that last lap and couldn't do anything about the ability of the Kenyan to finish that off in fine style. Big win for him, 2 big wins this year on the Diamond League circuit, but this the most important one. Takes the trophy. If you're flying home to Kenya, do you carry that? You put it in your luggage? What do you do? Surely you just sit with it on your lap and go, look at me. Well done.
Well, we go over to the men's javelin now. This is a competition where Oliver Helander of Finland, the 26-year-old, after 8th in Eugene last year at the World Championships, 7th in Budapest, produced his best in round 3, opened with a modest 78-meter effort, then an 83.67, and this one, a marginal improvement from the Finn, 83.74. Of course, they do so love their javelin throwing in Finland. They would so love to find a new global superstar. Helander may be that man, but settles for 3rd today with that 3rd round effort. Doesn't look overly delighted with it. His season's best, 87 meters. He is an 89-meter thrower at his best.
Well, not a great day for Chopra. He was beaten in Zurich by Vadlec, and today having to suffer the same fate. We saw him earlier on, 2nd round, 83.80. That was as good as it would get for him. Couple of no throws, really only around the 80-81 meter mark. So this great talisman for Indian athletics, which is improving. They've got lots of world-class athletes now, but the world champion not able to find the big throw today. Difficult conditions, tricky as we said earlier on. Having to settle again for 2nd place to Vadlec.
Yes, indeed. Vadlec opening with 84.01. That would have been good enough for the victory, as it turned out. Remember, Chopra 83.80 in round 2 for 2nd. This Vadlec, though, in round 6, had 3 no throws in rounds 2, 3, and 4, but he was hitting his straps pretty well, and none better than in round 6. This one, a marginal improvement, 84 meters, 24 from Vadlec. The World Championship bronze medalist, winner in Zurich just a couple of weeks ago with 85.86. Well, he's freshened up here for this one. And although he's 1.5 meters or so down on it, he's the best of all of them here in Eugene. He has the 2 best throws of the day, 84.24, backing up his opener 84.01. And a few big names taken down by the Czech. Speaking of checks, useful prize money, of course, for winning that Diamond and the Diamond League final of 2023.
Well, this venue, which was completely redesigned and rebuilt, the old Hayward Field, it's still called Hayward Field, but it's completely different to what was here before. Great new venue, particularly with the field event layout, very different to what we see in other stadia around the world. And a good crowd in here, as I mentioned. 2 days of top-class athletics for, well, I was going to say the folks of Oregon to enjoy, but apparently they've come from all over the United States. Apparently there's only a couple of states who haven't bought tickets. Where are you, Vermont? So in the women's shot put, new world champion Chase Ely. Wow, that's big. Wow, Chase Ely has been entertaining for the last couple of years in such a way that she wasn't able to before. Changed the coaching setup. Spent a lot of time in the UK with Sophie McKenna, the British shot putter. And moved 3-4 years ago from a glide technique to the rotation. And it's been paying off beautifully for Chase Ely. And that is a huge performance after that 2061, 2076, and that's a new national record at last for Chase Ely. Look how much that means to her. Brilliant. Maggie McEwen, a teammate. Well, after the excitement of Chase Ely, not able to match that outside the top three here.
Rojas then, round 5, just one valid jump from her first 4. Now, what can she do here? She just needs the one big effort. Oh, huge final phase into the sand. That second phase is still her weak spot. Ricketts, remember, 14.79 in round 2. And this in round 5 from Rojas. It's big, and that is still with that middle phase needing some work. 14.53 in round 3, but this one 15.35. It's a meeting record from Rojas. 15.35. It's the longest jump in the world this year. Just checking the wind, plus 1.2. That is a world lead from Rojas. That takes it out into territory beyond anybody in this generation of jumpers.
Wow. Well, Shanika Ricketts is in that 15-meter club, but she's just seen Rojas go 15.35. Is having an excellent end to the season. Ricketts had been leading. Oh, that's good. It is going to challenge the lead, but it's definitely an improvement for Ricketts. Well, we're now getting more and more women in and around this 15-meter mark. That's not going to be far away for the Jamaican. Nice rhythm, holding it together through that last phase. She knew it's right on 15 meters. 15 meters exactly. Well, a round of applause from her. And congratulations again from teammate Williams. So for the second time in a couple of weeks, Shanika Ricketts hits 15 meters. 15.01 last time, 15 meters exactly in the 5th round here in Eugene.
Some big jumping going on then in the latter stages of that women's triple jump. Round 5, the big jumps coming from the top 2. 2 track events left on the track, the women's 100 meters and the men's mile. And the athletes about to be introduced to this Hayward Field crowd for the women's 100 meters, in which we see the world champions from Budapest over 100 and 200 meters clash. There is Zoe Hobbs of New Zealand, a semi-finalist in Budapest. Good form, 7th in Zurich and then 4th in Brussels just last week in 11.14. A lifetime best produced back in early July in the Swiss venue of La Chaux-de-Fonds. There's Twanisha Terry, 6th in the US Championships. Wasn't in Budapest, didn't make the team, but she's a 10.99 performer this year. Could cause perhaps an upset here by making the top 3.
Lane number 3 from Jamaica.
Well, this lady needs little introduction. Elaine Thompson-Herah of Jamaica. 5 times an Olympic gold medalist, winning the Olympic titles in Rio and retaining it in Tokyo 2 years ago, but only 5th in the Jamaican Championship, so she wasn't in Budapest, coming back to her best form. She goes in 3. Marie-Josée Talou, super consistent, 4th in Budapest over 100, 8th in the 200, the Ivory Coast athlete. She's in 4, and then in lane 5, listen to this, for Sha'Carri Richardson, the reigning world champion at 100. So much charisma. Silver medalist in the 200 meters, gold medalist in the 100. She took the big one, the blue ribbon event, 10:65. Makes her equal fastest in the world this year, along with this athlete, the 200 meters champion from Budapest, and the silver medalist in the 100. It could hardly be better matched. In lanes 5 and 6, Richardson and Jackson, 100 and 200 meter champions from Hungary. Dina Asher-Smith goes in lane 7, 8th in Budapest in the 100, 7th in the 200. Wasn't quite herself under the coaching of John Blackie in South London. She's been quite remarkable these last few years, the 2019 world champion at 200. She's in 7. Natasha Morrison goes in 8. The semi-finalist, the Jamaican in Hungary, but 2nd in Zurich and 2nd in Brussels. She's in good form, Ms. Morrison. Watch her 10:95 in Brussels last week. And then Imani Lanzikwo of Great Britain completes the lineup in lane 9. She's run 10:99 this year. That was just 10 days or so ago in Bellinzona in Switzerland.
On your marks.
Didn't race in Budapest, Lanzikwo, but here she is in this Diamond League final. So the fastest 3 in the world this year go in this race. Shericka Jackson, she goes in 6. Sha'Carri Richardson, equal fastest, she goes in 5. Marie-Josée Talou, who goes in lane 4. Talou in 4, Richardson in 5, Jackson in 6. Ooh, long hold there, really long hold. Shericka Jackson, great start in the blue there, 4 from left. Jackson pulling away at the moment. Talou working hard on the far side, but Jackson's going to take this one. Richardson back at about 3rd or 4th, not hitting her straps today. She was very, very buoyant and bubbly in her press conference yesterday. She knows she's got the big one in the bag. She won't be too bothered by this. Great running from Jackson. 10:70 there, that winning time. And clear victory for the Jamaican. The wind speed plus 0.8. If it had been a little bit more in her favour, she'd have gone way under 10:70. Talou, 75. Thompson Hera, 10:79. That for Thompson Hera, significant season's best. And Richardson, well, on this occasion, down in 4th place. So does she look bothered?
That's great to see, isn't it? She's delayed from Morrison, a teammate who's just run a big personal best there, 10:85 in 6th place. I was about to say the top 6 were very evenly matched, with the exception of Jackson, the kind of 2nd through to 6th. But it was all about, as you said, it was a strange race for Richardson, because I mean, Jackson is never going to get out quite as quick as the others necessarily. She's just so good at the end. And look at Richardson there. Probably got even, I don't know, half a yard on Jackson. Just isn't able to pick up and go with her in the same way that we saw in the World Champs. But nonetheless, Talou was out quickly as we thought. Elaine Thompson-Herah was out fast as well. And here comes Jackson right through the middle. Just once she's up into her top speed, there's no holding her back. And that's a good performance there, 10.7. Talou with equaling her best this year. Thompson-Herah, a season's best for her. So the Jamaicans very much to the fore. But it's good to see Richardson with a smile on her face and enjoying the adulation she's receiving for taking that world title. So, as we said, Tim, yesterday, full of, she was ebullient, wasn't she? And just saying, look, why don't you just all enjoy this? You know, I'm enjoying it, so why don't you? And
Shericka Jackson,
right.
Yeah, Shericka Jackson there, having set that Jamaican 200 record in Budapest for gold, maintaining that really, really strong form to win, well, pretty comfortably in sprinting terms. They're 10:70 to Talou's 10:75. Brilliant start from Talou. Put pressure on Richardson straight away. Richardson sporting that new haircut. Always likes to cause a stir, and she certainly did And she walked out a few minutes ago to this Hayward Field crowd, but settling for 4th place in this one. 10.80 the place times, by the way, great. Dina Asher-Smith down in 7th in 10.96. The first 7, well under 11 seconds here. Jackson, Talu, Thompson-Herah, 1, 2, 3. Thompson-Herah coming back to her best, the Jamaican.
Rojas. 15:35 new meeting record, and very much back to her best. If there was any question about it, she's answered it here. Shanika Ricketts going well, these two. It's actually a pretty decent standard. Kimberly Williams has had a season's best in 3rd with 14.61. So Rojas, one more go here, last triple jump of the season. What's she got? Crowd trying to get into this, building up a speed, head up. Oh, there's a bit of a groan there on the board. Well, she went for it, but no jump in the final round. But nonetheless, 15:35, just the 2 legal jumps today. Rojas will win.
Well, Rojas, Steve, when you think that 15:35, only 2 other athletes in history have jumped as far as that. Inessa Kravets of Ukraine and Bango Ntone of Cameroon. Here is Ricketts, her 6th round jump. She opened, remember, with a 14.69, then a 14.79. Really great series for her. 15 metres in round 5. This from Ricketts in round 6. Again, booms out to beyond 15 metres, does Ricketts. And the Jamaican there, oh, her national record, 15.16. That one, a slight improvement for Ricketts. 15.03, and a lifetime best is her reward for 2nd place in this Diamond League final. Wonderful series, and the wind was legal. That was in still air from Shanika Ricketts. She is a wonderful competitor. Silver medalist here last year in Budapest, having to settle for 4th place. A little frustrating that, because 15.03 would have been good enough for silver in Budapest. But Rojas, class apart as ever.
So there is the Diamond League winner again for 2023. Yulimar Rojas enjoying the celebrations. She, you know, she'll be as pleased, I think, as anyone that the likes of Ricketts and Beck-Romanchuk are jumping over 15 meters on a regular basis. Ricketts now 3 times in 10 or 12 days. So just helps spur her on. Hopefully, from her point of view, she can go even further. Confirmation of the result, 15:35, 15:03. Derkash as well with a new personal best as well in 4th place.
We can go back to this women's shot put now. Now, Sarah Mitten of Canada, silver medalist in Budapest, Commonwealth champion from last year. She opened Mitten with 1944. Remember, Chase Ely opened with 1977. And this from Sarah Mitten. Well, that's a significant improvement. Close to 20 meters from the Canadian. Lots of scuba diving to Sarah Mitten. Well, she's dug deep there. And that one coming down at 19 meters 94. And that's from Sarah Mitten, a significant improvement, half a meter improvement on her opener. And that elevates Mitten to the lead at this stage.
Just come back to Chase Ely's shot put. She's now had her 4 best throws ever in her career here at Hayward Field at the World Championships and the American Championships last year, and then again here today, a new American record, winning that one.
The next event on the track, our final track event today.
So we go on to the final event, always the event which closes or tends to close this meeting, although we've got another day tomorrow. The Bowerman Mile. So not a 1500 for the men, it's a mile race. And we are really, really, genuinely looking forward to this. Quality everywhere. Loads of men who are in great form. No Josh Kerr, the world champion, US-based British athlete who beat Jacob Ingebrigtsen in the World Championship final. Deja vu, if you like, after Ingebrigtsen had lost on this track here to another Brit, Jake Whiteman. But Ingebrigtsen is here and is in incredible form. And I think we could be heading for something special here. So the last three to be introduced. Kipsang of Kenya, who will be hoping that he can reproduce his quick running. Just missed out on a medal at the World Championships, as indeed did Yared Nuguse. Had high hopes, the Americans, that he could chase Ingebrigtsen and others home. He was thereabouts. He's a lovely character, nice unassuming young man, Colorado-based, originally from Kentucky.
The World Championship 5,000-meter champion.
Well, they're all going to be trying to hang on to this man. In the press conference yesterday, Nuguse and Cole Hocker were asked if they could get Alan Webb's American record, and Ingebrigtsen just said, guys, I'll be your pacemaker, hang on to me. He is that confident, and he has every right to be. A new world record at 2,000 meters, which was just incredible the other night. And that, I think, has given him the sense that could he go for this mile world record here. He's played it down a little bit, but I chatted to him yesterday, and I think others are suggesting that the pace he's asked for here means that he has Hisham El Garouge's world record, 3:43.13, in his sights. And when you've run as quick as him over, well, he brought the 2-mile world record and the 2,000-meter world record, he's got every opportunity. So just over 4 laps of the track. The pace we're looking for around about 55, high 55, 56 seconds. Then somewhere just in and around 152. And it'll then be up to Ingebrigtsen, because I don't think there'll be too many chasing that sort of pace. He's got young Cam Myers, the Australian super talent, super teenage talent. I should mention as well, he's doing pacemaking job here. But Niels Laros of the Netherlands, he could be heading for something special. Is here, the teenager from the Netherlands, has been running so well and has been breaking Ingebrigtsen's age records. So Myers takes it out. And let's not forget, Tim, you know, when Ingebrigtsen, as a 16-year-old, this is a track he loves. He's come here and broken age group records before. Now he's going for a world record.
No, absolutely, Steve. I should point out that, of course, your European record is perhaps 1 goal for Ingebrigtsen if he can't get down to that astonishing mark of El Garouge from 1999, 3:43.13. Cam Myers taking them out. Sawinski will take over, we understand, at about 600 or 700 metres. Ingebrigtsen looking very comfortable there, slotted in 3rd place with Nuguse, who will try desperately to hang on to his coattails.
Kipsang up there as well, McSwain, others, but it will all be about Ingebrigtsen. And I took the chance to just remind myself of that incredible race of El Garouge. Let's not forget that Noah Nyen of Kenya was just behind him, so he had somebody to push him on the last lap. They'd dropped the pace in that race on the 3rd lap. I think Ingebrigtsen will want the pace to stay hard right through to 1,200 meters, and they were spot on. They're heading for 151.58 at this point. That's what they want, that's what they're looking for. Sawinski's a good pacemaker, look at that, exactly right. That's actually through 800 meters. So let's not forget they've got that extra 9 to add on. But Ingebrigtsen, it won't be long before he's on his own here, and he's only got Nuguse for company.
Yeah, Ingebrigtsen chomping at the bit to get past Sawinski, who's done there. Look at that, only about less than 2.5 laps from Sawinski. Now Ingebrigtsen, remember, the European record holder at 5,000, has the strength, Steve, to push on through this last lap and a half. But it's got to be very, very spot on this next 300 metres from Ingebrigtsen, or that world record will slip away. Nuguse hanging on as we expected.
He went through 1,000 in about 2:21. I figured he needed to be at least that, maybe even 2:20, because the difference with El Garouge is he picked it up on the last lap. Ingebrigtsen likes to keep it solid and hard the whole way. Looks behind. He sees he's still got company here. He needed 2:46.47. It's just slipped a little bit. High 47s. He needs a big last 400 meters here. Naguse is still there. This crowd are on their feet. They know it's going to be incredibly quick. But the American is there. The American record held by Alan Webb, surely under threat here. They don't look as though they're moving too quickly down the back straight. The lights are still there, though. They've got a chance, surely, if Ingebrigtsen can just find a little bit extra. But he has to win the race first. The American's still there. 1.5 meters, 2 meters between them. That then becomes 3 meters. And Ingebrigtsen has got the kick on now. Naguse is still hanging in and he's coming back. The American is just closing the gap slightly. Ingebrigtsen's tired. Naguse is coming, but he's going to run out of time. Ingebrigtsen heading for the line. It's going to be incredibly quick. 3:43.73. Well, the world record just escaped him. I'll put him third on the all-time list. But Ingebrigtsen, just for a second, I wonder what he thought, because when he crossed the line, the clock actually stopped at 42.90 something, and he might have thought, I've got the record, and then the official time clipped up. Look at Naguse, look at George Mills. I have to say, we weren't really watching the chase for third, but that's a massive performance from the British athlete, and that will put him third on the British all-time list, moving him up. He was the world leader before this race here. There's a whole bunch of records behind Tim, but you know what? He had to dig deep to win this.
But isn't it great? The big records, the big performances in history come in the most wonderful races. We all prefer to see this, not time trials, not exhibition runs behind pacemakers, but a battle to the line. Naguse kept that pressure on. Ingebrigtsen would have sensed the American there, even if he wasn't in his field of vision. And that is so, so close. It's been a long, hard season for Ingebrigtsen. Let's accept that for a start. He probably isn't at his absolute peak, Steve. He misses the world record by 0.6 of a second. Those place times, quite astonishing. Garcia fourth in a Spanish national record.
Do you know, that race almost mirrored the El Garouge and Yen race. El Garouge got left out in front with a pacemaker, and Yen hung on and hung on and hung on. And in the home straight, you thought, oh my goodness, he's going to get past him. He didn't. We had a mirror copy of that race here today. And Naguse with a new American record. Ingebrigtsen's, well, he's got a hold. Whenever we have a performance like this, and on our computers there isn't enough room to say personal best, meeting record, area record, world lead, Diamond League record, and the rest. So Ingebrigtsen, I know how he set such high standards for himself, and there'll be a bit of him inside disappointed, and I just hope he enjoys these moments, because even if he hasn't broken the world record, he has run phenomenally well there. He was pushed all the way by Naguse. He's got to come back tomorrow and run the 3,000 meters, by the way. But that was a brilliant race, two great athletes. Naguse, sensational for him, a new American record, and as Tim was saying, a whole host of great times behind. You can go all the way down to the teenager from the Netherlands who ran 3:48.9.
But Steve, ninth place.
I know.
At 3:48 mile, ninth.
Yes, I know. and that, you know, he's just following on from what this guy was doing, what, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
So what a way to finish the action this evening here in Eugene. So close to a potential world record. Didn't quite get there for Jakob Ingebrigtsen, but well done to George Mills. Third fastest British time in the mile. Well done to him. Right, that is all we have time for here, but we are going to be back on BBC 3 tomorrow from 8 o'clock for the final Diamond League of the season. Plenty to look forward to there, including Keely Hodgkinson in the women's 800 metres. Also later today, there's highlights of all the day's Premier League action in Match of the Day. That's over on BBC One in 20 minutes time. And then there is live tennis tomorrow on BBC iPlayer from 1 o'clock as the Davis Cup continues. Great Britain could secure their place in the knockout stages if they can beat France in Manchester. Well, the action in Eugene started with a bang. Rye Benjamin shocked Karsten Warholm in the 400 metres hurdles, winning in a Diamond League record. There was a huge personal best for Winfried Matila-Jave as she won the steeplechase in the second fastest time in history. Faith Kipyegon, she continues to dominate the 1500 metres. She was so close to her own world record, with Laura Muir finishing in third. In the men's 100 metres, world champion Noah Lyles was beaten into second on home soil by compatriot Christian Coleman. And world and Olympic champion Yula Mauro has left it a little late, but she pulled out a huge jump to win the women's triple jump. And then Chase Ely set a national record to wrap up the women's shot put. But world champion Sha'Carri Richardson had to settle for fourth in a strong 100 metres field. Sharika Jackson claiming the victory. Well, thank you for joining us. We will be back at the same time tomorrow with all this to look forward to. See you then.
Football will never be a closed club. It shouldn't be about how much you've got, but about how much